Intro 70, body 20, ending 90. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Today I'm going to reflect on my journey in Pathway Presentations Mastery. This is my last speech, level 5, on reflecting on my journey. As I'm reflecting, I said, what do I want to say? What do I want to say? One thing that brought to my mind in my journey was when I competed in the area contest and I won. Then I competed in the division contest. And I thought I have the best world winning speech in the world. And I did not win. And I asked the Lord, why? 30 something years ago, when I was half my age, working at Riverside General Hospital as an office assistant in Riverside General Hospital, I was in Toastmasters for 4 years. And there I enter an international speech contest. In my first try and the only try, I went all the way up to semifinals. That was when I was young. Don't know that much and didn't speak that much, not much life experience. And I thought for sure this time I could at least equal to semifinals, if not finals, and maybe world champion. That was a great experience when I asked the Lord why. I find out the Lord just wants me to stop moaning and groaning, learn, keep learning. So I learned. I studied the world champions and I found out how to create a world champion speech. I believe I've learned the secret. To learn the secret. Here's the secret. 70% of your effort needs to be in the hooking introduction. Why? Because people remember the first thing you said. First impression holds. 20% of your effort needs to be in the body. Don't put too much in effort because people don't remember that much. It's the middle part. So you got to have a simple body. 3 points, 1 to 5 points. 90% of your impact would be in your ending. So it should be a memorable ending because it's the last thing before you finish speaking. It's the last thing. It's called latency. So people remember the most. So you should put your most effort and impact on the ending. That's a great learning for me. That's how you create a world champion speech. Follow the 70, the 20, and the 90 rule. I learned that from Sunrise Toastmaster from this professor named Terry. He's a professor at Ashbury College. He was giving an evaluation. He could put this little paper and said, well, you see this? 70, 20. I said, what is that? What's this 70? I said, I asked him some questions. He said, it's the effort and the impact. Then I researched and look. There's not a lot of research on it, but there's some common understanding among world Toastmasters, among public speakers, among keynote speakers, personal development speakers. They follow this rule. It's called the 70, the 20, and the 90 rule. Now, how do you put effort in the 70 hooking introduction? You follow sharp. This is a Sharpie. I could not find a sharp pen that says sharp, so I put a Sharpie. But anyway, you take away the IE, you have sharp. SHARP. First 8 seconds, if you don't catch their attention, it's very hard. They might start looking at the watch. They quietly already, politely write you off. So you got to catch them the first 8 seconds with a hook. How do you do that? Use sharp. S. Story. Storytelling. I was walking down. Last week, I saw this man, 70-year-old man, and he moved like he's in his 20s. That's called storytelling. Just mention some stories. People before, in other words, hook before you greet. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Hook before you greet. H, humor. Now, humor is a funny thing. Some of us are not comedians, so you got to remember, some of us need to memorize funny things, such as it's a great thing to be here in Lexington, the equine capital of the world, and fast women. Okay, all right. Oh, I remember, and another line. Lexington is great, great grass, everything, except sometimes in the winter it's so cold. Even Richard Simmons have to wear pants. So things that you memorize, just memorize it. You don't have to be funny, just memorize funny lines. R, A stands for ask the audience. Do you know that our grip strength is a key biomarker of longevity? It's just a remarkable fact. Do you know that after 50, we lose 1% of muscle mass every year? It's called simple, remarkable, simple fact. So ask the audience and then remark. R stands for remarkable, simple fact. And P stands for prop or demo. I gave you three props here, a Sharpie, an Ola, and a stick. Now I find if the props are light, it's easy. When you do want to bring a barbell that's 45 pounds, it's kind of hard. So get the lighter ones. The other ones you could say imaginary. I am holding a barbell. It's called imaginary prop. So there you have it. Just have a hook with sharp, SHARP, and then have a thesis, a statement. Today, fellow Toastmasters, I want to talk to you about what I discovered in putting together a world championship speech, a world champion speech. A world champion speech has three things: a hooking introduction, a simple body, and a memorable conclusion. And then you use transitions such as first, second, third. Then you use parallel. First, a world champion speech has a hooking introduction, and you could use sharp for that. Second, a world champion speech has a simple body, and you could use OLA. O stands for 1 to 5 points, preferably 3, but 1 to 5. Sometimes 3 doesn't fit in there. That's why I put 1 to 5. Then L stands for loci method. Now, the body is important to not use notes. You never see a world champion. Never. Zero. You look at all the finalists, the world champions in the past 20, 30 years in Toastmasters, none start reading from their notes. So how do you do that? How do you not read notes in the body? You use the loci method. You know why I said the loci method? Because last week at sunrise, I gave 3 points about staying young. And the third point I forgot. I just forgot. But I use table topics skills. I could talk about that point another time. And half the audience did not know I forgot, but the other half, when they were writing the written evaluation, third point, they knew I forgot. But the general evaluator helped me. He said, when you want to remember a point, one way to do is imagine a room, and you just put things in certain parts of the room as you go on for things that you want to remember. So now the third point was about weights, weight training 2 times a week. I find that learn time that when you're over 50, you need to have 3 to 4 days of rest, 3 days, at least 3 days of rest between exercise for muscle building. So I work out on Wednesday and Friday, about 1 hour, full body workout. I forgot that point. So now the third thing, and when I go into my room, into our house, there's the fence, there's the bathroom, and then there's the stairs. So now for that speech, if I'm going to do it again, I just put barbells and dumbbells flying, jumping off the stairs. Now I'll never forget that third point. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful things. We could all remember that. Use, just put things in the places in the house. And finally, mnemonics. I use Sharpie, I use Ola, and I use stick as mnemonics to remember my points. Then you would never have to use notes when you give your presentation, especially in the body. Now we come to third, a memorable ending, a final ending. Use stick. Stick. You ever see a gymnast? They do everything right, and then when they land, they go, oh, it just looks awful. But if you watch Nadia Comaneci, she stuck at the end, and she went like, that's the memorable stick. That's why I used to did the ending stick as summarize. What I've talked to you about is in order to have a world champion speech, you got to have a hooking introduction. You got to have a simple body, and you have to have a memorable conclusion. T, tell a story. I, inspire emotions. C, call for action. K, a knockout punchline. You might say, but I still have a tough time thinking I'm a world champion. Just ask this question. Quality, high quality, at the alpha state, first 5 minutes. Why am I a world champion speaker? Thank you. Wow, the time went by so fast.
All right. I started your time before you started speaking, before you did your hook. That was probably about 15 seconds.
Uh-huh.
If I take that 15 seconds off,
I would have made it.
you're gonna be at 12:15.
12:15.
Right with me starting it when